Well, since this network and other news organizations called the presidential election on Saturday, November 7th, 2020, every day of Donald Trump's life has been worse than the day before. Today is $464 million worse than yesterday for Donald Trump and his children. There was no suspense, really, in today's judicial finding in the civil fraud case brought against Donald Trump by New York Attorney General Letitia James. Jury verdicts are always suspenseful. You never know what juries are thinking, but it was always very clear what the fact finder in this case, Judge Arthur Engoron, was thinking. It was very clear what any reasonable person would think when confronted with the evidence in this case. In his ruling today, which cost Donald Trump and his children $463.9 million, including interest, Judge Engoron wrote, in order to borrow more and at lower rates, defendants submitted blatantly false financial data to the accountants, resulting in fraudulent financial statements. When confronted at trial with the statements, defendants, fact and expert witnesses simply denied reality, and defendants failed to accept responsibility or to impose internal controls to prevent future recurrences. That's the essence of the case. So, as of tonight, because of Donald Trump's stupidity and recklessness as a businessman, and because of Donald Trump's utter depravity in raping E. Jean Carroll in the 1990s, Donald Trump owes a total of $551 million in legally enforceable judgments against him in the state of New York. And the interest is ticking on that total amount every day that it remains unpaid. That means the interest on what Donald Trump owes, in this case, won by Attorney General Letitia James, and in the the two cases, one by E. Jean Carroll, is increasing at a rate of $1 million per week. That's the interest right now that's running on what Donald Trump owes in all of these cases, $1 million a week. To appeal those cases in the state of New York, Donald Trump has to literally put up or shut up. He has to put up the money in question in order to appeal the New York cases. So Donald Trump has exactly 22 days left before he must deposit the $83 million that he owes E. Jean Carroll in an account controlled by the court so that he can appeal that case. If he loses that appeal, that $83 million immediately goes to E. Jean Carroll. She won't have to chase Donald Trump for the money. Donald Trump has already deposited the $5 million in an account controlled by the court while he is appealing the first verdict against E. Jean Carroll that E. Jean Carroll won in court. Donald Trump has 30 days to deposit $463 million in an account controlled by the court so that he can appeal this business fraud case. Tonight, Donald Trump needs the kind of $2 billion surge of Saudi money into his business that his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, got from the Saudis after the Trump presidency. If foreign sources of money like that don't bail out Donald Trump, it is unlikely that the Trump businesses will experience a surge of income that is able to absorb the $500 million in legal judgments that Donald Trump now faces, with hundreds of millions of dollars in legal judgments likely to land on him in the lawsuits pending against him in Washington, D.C., filed by police officers for the injuries that they suffered at the hands of the violent Trump mob on January 6th. Donald Trump will be barred from running businesses in the state of New York for 3 years. His two children, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, will be barred from running businesses in New York for 2 years. After crushing the Trump boys and their business in court today, New York Attorney General Letitia James said this.
I want to be clear. White-collar financial fraud is not a victimless crime. When the powerful break the law and take more than their fair share, there are fewer resources available for working people, small businesses, and families. And everyday Americans cannot lie to a bank about how much money they have in order to get a mortgage to buy a home, or a loan to keep their business afloat, or to send their child to college. And if they did, our government would throw the book at them. I want to thank the entire incredible and hardworking team in my office that tried this case, because the scale and the scope of Donald Trump's fraud is staggering. And so too is his ego and his belief that the rules do not apply to him. Today, we are holding Donald Trump accountable. We are holding him accountable for lying, cheating, and a lack of contrition, and for flouting the rules that all of us must play by. Because there cannot be different rules for different people in this country, and former presidents are no exception. This decision is a massive victory for every American who believes in that simple but fundamental pillar of our democracy, that the rule of law applies to all of us equally, fairly, and justly. Thank you.